Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM and broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games. With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes, Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEDGamesAU.
Welcome to Z Games. We're here at 4ZZZ Studios and I am Zahra and we're here with
Evie
and
Derby.
Alright, so how's everyone doing tonight?
I'm good.
Oh.
I'm chill.
You chill?
Zahra, how are you feeling? It's your first time in the hot seat tonight.
I'm terrified.
You'll get more relaxed.
This
We haven't
hot
been
seat-
watching you for the
This
last
hot
half an
seat
hour.
is extremely hot.
Yeah.
And sweaty.
I thought it would just be like, just a little bit warm, but no, it's searing.
It's searing.
It's searing.
Yeah, it's like Paul last week. Paul was like learning the hot seat as well, and he's like, "I'm totally cool. I'm totally fine." I'm like, "Dude, you're dripping and sweating." It's like it's all good.
Down the back
Like
of
it's
the
cool.
But it's a learning process. I'm very excited to be here. So it's
Z Games, bringing the best in gaming news and video game community nonsense as usual.
yeah. Speaking of, you know what sounds really good right now?
What is that?
Listening to some news.
I agree. Let's do that. Let's jump straight into it.
Recorded by...
This week in gaming news. The Game Awards 2020 ceremony was held virtually last week, unveiling game announcements, as well as announcing the various award studios, games, content creators, and esport teams have earned. The Last of Us Part 2 was awarded Game of the Year, Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, and Innovation and Accessibility, a new award added to the Game Awards. Ghost of Tsushima won Best Art Direction. Best Multiplayer and Mobile Game was awarded to Among Us. Unsurprisingly, Animal Crossing New Horizons won Best Family Game, and Best Game for Impact goes to Tell Me Why. A link to the full list of awards will be available through our Facebook page at ZEDGamesAU. Cyberpunk 2077, the futuristic game that came out last week, has had several updates to fix major and minor bugs that players have encountered. One of these fixes includes modifying a flashing effect on brain dancers, which previously had a higher risk of inducing epileptic symptoms. Thankfully, the effect has been smoothed out and the flashing reduced, making it safer for players. This prompts an important discussion into accessibility and the safety of players among the gaming community and among game devs. Other fixes includes improved stability, fixing missing animations in some cutscenes, improving reflections for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 consoles, and fixes for many quests. During the Game Awards 2020, many games were announced, and major additions to existing games, such as Among Us getting a new map, and Master Chief coming to Fortnite. In addition, teaser trailers for a new Mass Effect and a new Dragon Age game. The Mass Effect game is in early production and teases at a new chapter in the series, with the trailer ending with an Asari finding a piece of N7 wreckage. The Dragon Age trailer offers a little more information, with the return of many familiar characters from previous games. You can check out both trailers through our Facebook page at ZEDGamesAU. Other games announced includes We Are OFK, an interactive series following the rise of a pop group called OFK, Open Roads by Fulbright, telling the story of a mother and daughter on a road trip, Left 4 Dead and Dead Space both getting spiritual successors called Back 4 Blood and the Callisto Protocol respectively. And finally, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII is joining the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate lineup. That's it this week in gaming news. So a new map for Among Us.
That's pretty good.
Also Sephiroth in Super Smash Bros.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone see that announcer trailer?
I did not.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Mario's dead.
Dun dun dun.
Really?
Well,
He had it coming.
He had it coming.
Yeah, it's like literally had the
He
same
had
song
it
in my
coming.
head. It's like let's get right into that.
I always knew that Plumber was up to something.
Have you played... with the Smash community, Mario is one of those kind of characters that people are like, nah, get rid of him.
No! But
So there's a bit of a...
But
oh.
he's Mario!
He's Mario. Never going to get rid of him.
It's
but-
like Imagine getting rid of Waluigi.
I mean, I could imagine that.
No.
But I couldn't imagine getting rid of Yoshi.
No.
See, Yoshi I'm all about.
Imagine getting rid of Kirby.
I can see that. Anyway.
I was a Kirby man. No, you can't.
I just want to have a quick moment for the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 fixing all those issues with lights causing seizures in people. That's... I do feel... I want to have a bit of a little semi-discussion around it, only because Rani was particularly upset by the news and affected by this. Not in the sense that she played Cyberpunk 2077 had epileptic symptoms, just that
That's
it's
something
about
like that was
accessibility,
overlooked.
and ableist sort of stuff that revolves around the industry and the lack of sort of awareness from big companies, despite the fact that they have plenty of resources and means to properly check these things, especially something the size of Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt are a massive money-making company for the games industry, so it is kind of a shocking oversight.
Yeah, it's
Personally?
pretty major. It's
Yeah.
pretty major. Like, seizures and triggers for seizures are pretty well known. We had that, like, Pokemon episode ages back.
Yeah.
And as soon as they realized, like, that's gone. That's gone.
Yeah.
And it's been about 20 years since that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But there's also a lot to say about Cyberpunk currently, and a lot of the feedback from the general community is that it's not being received very positively in terms of polish and in terms of a lot of issues.
yeah.
They're obviously, like, I know that we talked a lot about crunch revolving around CD Projekt Red and CD Projekt in general, just having all these devs working unbelievable hours in order to create this game and get this game by release, which didn't happen 3 times. But ultimately, what ended up happening is now we have a product where those same devs are being pushed into crunch again to try and, fix the bugs, update. Like, just there's no end for them. There's no like, oh, it's released, yay, we can have a champagne now. They're also still working at 100 miles an hour, still under the pump to try and correct all these issues. And one of the major issues were obviously the seizure warnings and the seizures that inevitably came out of a lot of the flashing from the game itself. So, heartfelt condolences to the devs.
I have a revolutionary idea. What if games weren't announced? The release date wasn't announced until it was done. It's just
Well-
like, all right, this game's coming out next week. We finished it. Here you go.
The problem is when you don't have a deadline, there's no accountability. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think perhaps like
An internal deadline?
Yeah,
Possibly.
yeah, but without the the community
I'm sorry.
doing its
as
thing.
As a gamer watching, like, I spent a lot of time on Reddit because of the fact of this, because I came on to Z Games, and watching that community go ape trying to get everything in early and get everything as quickly as possible, and then as soon as it comes out and it's not polished, they go ape yet again, and you're just like, there's
you can't
no,
please them.
you can't please that audience in that situation. You've just got to keep it under belt and say, hey, I've got a game coming. But
Yeah.
I'm not telling you when. And I'm not telling you where.
Well, the other thing is too. I mean, if we didn't have deadlines, I suppose there would be a lot less pressure on the developers themselves. But there's also uncertainty from a financial standpoint that the game's even going to sell well, because there's no advertisement out there. There's no hype. There's no anticipation being generated for the development. So wouldn't that also
Maybe
be something?
the game gets finished and then there's like a month and it's called marketing month.
Beta is what they call it.
And this is when they go absolutely
They
ham.
call
They're
it
like
beta
ads.
release.
They got the trailers. They have like a teaser trailer that comes out like on the first day, and they're like, forget it. You don't need teasers. Here's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this game has been generating like hype for 2 years.
Yeah,
Like, this thing's been on the hype train for a long time.
It's a very long time. It's a very long time.
And in actual fact, it's been on the hype train so much that there's bound to be disappointment
yeah,
because of how long this has been going. Actually makes me think of a very pinnacle television series called Game of Thrones, and that final season being, intense hype having to be generated because you can't compete. No one is going to be fully satisfied with the final season of Game of Thrones in the same way because it's bigger than itself now. It's Cyberpunk 2077 became bigger than itself in a way.
It's one of the reasons I don't think that Half-Life 3 is ever going to happen. It's too long now. We have to let that go.
Yeah.
We're about to dive into a Destiny 2 discussion, specifically centering around the Beyond Light expansion.
Ooh.
But we'll be going a little bit into the base game as well for potential new players out there.
Well, yes, of course.
I want more people for the clan, Toby.
Of course.
A clan. Think of the clan.
Join my clan, please. Yeah, I need more people.
What's a clan? Is that kind of like a guild?
Yes.
Oh,
Full
fantastic.
stop.
10 stars.
Yes.
The more you do, the more things we get, and everybody gets if you join.
Yeah.
Hey.
So,
Speaking
what
of-
is Destiny? You might ask.
It's a free-to-play, online-only multiplayer first-person shooter.
Really?
Brought to you by Wikipedia.
Brought to you by Wikipedia. It's
So
a
it's fact checked.
No, that's fact check. That's fact check. I was like, what is Destiny? What is Destiny? Is a multiplayer online FPS thing? I shoot things?
On
Yeah.
crack.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
And
out too.
It's crap.
it takes place in the future.
Mhm.
After when humanity collapsed, and this great big giant orb, a robot orb, appeared and was like, "Hey, you'll want some immortality and technology," and humanity was like, "Yes, please, thank you." And then the orb said, "My name's the Traveler," and we're like, "Yay!"
And then Zahra said, I want a tattoo of this.
I want a tattoo of this.
And then everybody went, I want the Traveler too.
Yes. Because the Traveler had left behind some broken hearts,
Let's
actually.
just say there's lots of lore.
There's a lot of lore. And it's quite a fun game.
God, yeah.
It's free to play now. Originally it wasn't. But
Define fun in the context of Destiny 2.
I want to get it tattooed onto my body, Evie.
Okay. I'm just flashback to when I was studying game design and they were like, yeah, you're not allowed to say a game is fun because that's way too broad. And so anytime we'd say the game's fun, they'd be like, why is it fun?
I mean,
don't ask me that.
I think it's fun for a lot of people for a lot of different
Yeah.
reasons.
And that's the big thing, is like it's an FPS, so you can really get into it from that perspective.
It's a first-person
It's
shooter.
first-person
people.
shooter, sorry.
No, it's all good.
It's also got the social aspect of
Yes.
being able to play. It's got that weird thing where it's 3 people. So you know how in some places it's 4, it's 6. The major things that happen in this is 3 people.
Yeah, like most of the activities is you can do it in a group of up to 3 people. That's called a fire team.
Yeah.
But for some of the more difficult or competitive aspects, such as the PvP, player versus player scene, that
Crucible.
you can have up to 6 people that you know in part of your team.
Bang bang.
And there are also, aside from just like your normal quests and some everyday challenges, you have this kind of aspect called a raid, which is basically the pinnacle of the Destiny experience. It's extremely
Endgame
challenging.
content.
It's extremely challenging. You get really good rewards. There's a lot of teamwork, communication,
A
lot of
dopamine, a lot of
patience.
serotonin.
A lot of stress.
a lot of puzzle solving. It's basically a little bit of everything all come together, and that is probably
Puzzles.
like the last raid we did took us
yeah.
about 5.5 hours,
Yes, and that was with knowing about it.
and with knowing about it. But at the end of it, the joy, just being able to complete such a difficult challenge was a lot of fun.
But we forgot to mention, while it's shooty, it's also space wizards.
Space wizards, space paladins, and space rogues. We got it all for you. You can pick from 3 classes. So you got your Titans, which are the punchy ones. You got your Warlocks, which are all like space magic, and you have your Hunters, who have really cool capes, and they can dodge roll, and they have knives.
And they die quickly.
And they, well, not always.
If I play them, they die quickly.
Yeah, and you also got like subclasses, which has like specific abilities depending on what element you choose to align yourself with. And we also have quite a lot of story and lore.
But now with Beyond Light, we have the darkness.
We also have the darkness.
Now, before we had the orb of the traveler, now we have the pyramid.
The pyramid and the
darkness.
orb will do battle. And actually, that's kind of what they're doing. But now they're using us as pawns in their little spat. And it's been quite a lot of fun seeing that kind of like... We're now allowed to play with powers we've been told are bad.
We're now naughty.
We're now slightly evil. We're up to mischief.
Mm-hmm.
We're breaking some rules now.
I almost made a character and didn't go anywhere near that just to make like a pure paladin kind of class.
I love that.
No, I will not succumb to the darkness.
And you also get like some interesting character interactions, like Zavala. He's sort of the boss, and he goes, "Okay, I appreciate that you've been using this new power to like save us, but it's still the enemy, so maybe you shouldn't use that. Maybe."
You're just like, my power, I'll do what I want,
Well,
more or less.
Well, there is the wonderful thing of right now, the new class of darkness, Stasis, is pretty much about as overpowered as humanly possible. So it's really tempting.
No.
it is very overpowered,
Yeah.
but I've actually had quite a lot of complaints with it. As you've heard me grumble about it, because like I love Destiny. It's a lot of fun. I love playing it with my friends. It's such a great experience being able to just work with my friends and like complete all these challenges and find all these little nooks and crannies and getting But Stasis made me feel like I was very bad at the game.
Bad at the game or a bad person?
Just no, bad at the game. Like I've already kind of like resolved the whole morality thing in my own little personal lore. I'm just like, well, now I'm doing it secretly. So, secret crimes. But a lot of the controls I found very frustrating, at least for myself, with the class that I play. I would just find myself just zapping all over the place without really realizing where I was going.
Yeah, that has been a complaint with the Titan.
Yeah.
Their melee tends to zero in and throw you far, which is fun. But with it all, like with a new player experience...
I'm so happy with the new play experience.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of-
Speaking
the
as
file
someone who
size.
attempted to play as a new player multiple times, and maybe for people who follow Z Games previously will know that I put Destiny in my top 5 worst experiences I've had with video games, purely because, not because the game itself is trash or anything, just because trying to get into it and trying to have just to use the game and experience it has been really challenging from a either technological standpoint or just not being able to connect to servers and lots of other issues. It's
I
been
remember.
extremely frustrating, and I'm sure both of you here know exactly what that's like. to
Yeah.
do with me.
We weren't on the Discord phone call at the time.
Yeah, that was 2.5 hours of my life I'm never getting back. But yeah, it's interesting to see that you're saying that there is such a huge shift, because my experience was I was thrown into some random area, I had no idea where I was. And then I was kicked from the server, but then I came back, and then it was quite tedious, quite frustrating, also very confusing. I didn't get any indication on abilities, what I could do, what I couldn't do.
Yeah.
What was a higher level, I guess, enemy that I couldn't fight yet. So I'm happy to hear that that's completely changed.
Yeah, they've actually introduced the tutorial from the first game. So it is a lot more new player friendly.
And more intuitive as well, I imagine.
Little flashy things on the screen that don't force you, but say
Indicate
very
that.
loudly, click this button now. Click this button now.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more hand-holdy, because I was just thrown into the wilderness. It's
Yeah.
like,
And-
time to die.
And
That's
before
pretty
this,
much
that
it.
was literally it. Like I've started too many new characters because I threw myself in and went, "Hey, let's see how much leveling you can do before you die." And
Yeah.
Kept killing myself. So I've lived a lot of the different for like early game, and yeah, just before this, worst.
Yeah.
It was a
Not
mess.
fun.
It was a mess.
Not fun.
And I actually created a new character for the first time since first picking up Destiny, in order to experience it for myself. I picked a new class and everything, so like I wouldn't know what to do. And you know what? I actually kind of like being a hunter now.
Hey!
Uh-oh.
Still a Titan main, but
Something about that double jump.
What's your username, Zahra? Just, I have to, because it's so good.
It's not your dad anymore.
Damn it.
No, I
It was
nicknamed
your
I
dad.
nicknamed
So
Zahra your dad on my.
I nicknamed you your mom.
We'll be parents forever. In that game, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe we could get you to come in and play, and
Yeah,
we'll just
I could be
say
your child.
your child. Yeah.
We'll be a whole family. Anyway, so if you've been hesitant about picking up Destiny 2, this is probably your best time to pick it up. A lot of the old content has been put into the vault, so it's very much like a fresh experience. It's a fresh start. The tutorial system is a lot better, and everyone's just kind of like seeing what's going on now. It's a new year.
Woohoo! Congrats,
Woo.
Destiny 2. We're about to go into a pre-recorded segment from a little while ago. However, it's still super relevant, and I don't think I've played it on the show, surprisingly. Jack, an old member of the show, interviews Manami Matsumae at GCAP about Japanese gaming music. So let's listen to that.
I'm here at GCAP 2019 at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. I'm joined by Manami Matsumae and Alex Aniel from Brave Wave. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you mind, I guess, to open, sort of speaking a little bit to who you are and why you're here at GCAP?
My name is Alexander Aniel, and I am the co-founder of Brave Wave Productions and the Japan Business Development Manager for Limited Run Games.
Cool.
And I've come here to GCAP on invitation from the Australian games industry due to my ties in the video game music sector.
作曲家の松前まなみです。それだけでいいのかな
So my name is Manami Matsumae. I am a composer.
Matsumae-san, in your talk you spoke about some of the technical limitations when you started your career in game composing. Those limitations meant that you focused on the melody, but in, I suppose, more recent times, that's fallen out of favor compared to more ambient music. How did you sort of maintain your style without losing relevance in the game composition industry, I suppose?
日本でも海外のゲームが
Yeah, indeed. I think there was a time in the Japanese game music industry when there was a very high demand for ambient music. And I think that had become a big boom in and of itself. And as a result, for people like me who were very melody focused in our approach to composing music, there was a time when really there was no work for us and there was no work for me to do. And I did wonder if faced with this existential crisis, if the industry had changed for good. But it turns out that things kind of come back in full circle. There seems to be once again a demand for very melodic sounding music, and I think the biggest example of that would be with the game Shovel Knight. And that music, harkens back to a lot of what we had back in the day.
な仕事っていうのは私のところによく来るようにはなっています。
You also mentioned in your talk that composers would be brought in very late to the development cycle when it was sometimes 50% or 80% complete. That was earlier in your career, but more recently with indie titles, it happens earlier on. What are some of the challenges with being brought into a game's development earlier on compared to later on in the cycle?
途中から参
The
加す
two
る
largest differences, the first, if you're involved in the project halfway through development and going forward, the game has been solidified and has become concrete. to a certain extent, and developers are likely to have a better grasp of the kind of vision that they want to have executed within the game. So that makes it easy to make music in some respects. However, if you're involved from the very beginning, that can be tough in the sense that things are subject to change, and the developers might not truly know what they want until a little later on in the process. But that said, it's a lot easier to have discussions and influence in the production process when you're in there from the very beginning, and a lot of your own input, might lead to the game taking, going in a certain direction as well.
っていうのが、2つの大きな違いだと思います。
When you started your career, game composing was more exclusive to professionals in the field, I suppose, but now the equipment is more affordable. Anyone can compose game music. What are some of the differences between a professional and an amateur composer in your view?
本当に今低価格でいろんな
Yeah, so I think you're right. Composition equipment and software have become a lot more affordable these days. Even the less experienced can take up the mantle of a game composer. However, I think what sets someone like me apart from someone who's an amateur is that communication is a very big part of the equation. It's important to be able to communicate well with the development team and kind of understand what they want, what their intentions are, and being able to read, what they want to do. I think an amateur composer may not be as well versed in such a social kind of skill, and I've experienced this firsthand myself, where there are young composers who are very talented, but their communication skills weren't up to par. And that did them no good.
ちょっと残念なところなのかなっていうふうに思っています。
And I guess to close out, Alex, can you speak a little bit to what is Brave Wave and what you set out to do with the company?
So it was Mohammed who came up with the idea.
Right, okay.
He had this dream of working with a lot of his favorite Japanese game composers, but he didn't know how to speak Japanese, and most of these Japanese game composers don't speak English that well. So he initially needed an interpreter and a translator, and we knew each other beforehand, so he asked me to take care of some of these discussions. So being the go-between, I developed relationships with people on both sides, and including Manami-san. And it turns out that even after those initial pet projects were finished, Mohammed had more aspirations regarding what he wanted to do with these composers. He wanted to make more albums, do more collaborations. So I told him that, if you're going to do to some degree of professional work with these composers, you have to have a company in order to make this professional and official even, I would say. But he wasn't able to start the company on his own, so I decided to help him out and do it for him from Japan, from Tokyo. And that's how the idea was born, and it's kind of grown, over the years. We work with multiple artists. We've released a number of albums, and we've worked with a lot of large and recognizable game publishers like Capcom, Koei Tecmo, Sega especially. So we've kind of become this label / agency / what's a good word? Label, agency, and I guess go-to when people in the West want to get in touch with old school and new school game music composers, especially from Japan.
Cool. Thank you both so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack. That was a very interesting interview about how music changes and adapts to an industry. Because video game music.
It's so much cooler than it used to be.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
Unless you're a big fan of DuckTales.
That's true.
I listened to a lot of that this afternoon.
But you know what is also very interesting?
Oh yeah, hype! Monster Hunter!
A giveaway.
What?
Whoa! We've got 5 double passes to the new fantasy action blockbuster Monster Hunter, starring Mila Jovovich, to give away. So a little bit about the film. From the makers of Resident Evil, Monster Hunter follows Lieutenant.
You got
Artemis. I got so excited. Artemis and her squadron through a portal into a strange world where powerful monsters rule with deadly ferocity. Faced with relentless danger, the team encounters a mysterious hunter who may be their only hope to find a way home. It's in cinemas from January 1st. Giveaways are open to current 4 Triple Z subscribers, so have your sub number handy. If you're not a current subscriber, head to support. Hang on, let me just lean on in. Head to support
4ZZZ.org.au
to fix that. Thank you.
I got you back.
I can't see the screen.
But Monster Hunter looks absolutely amazing.
yeah.
I was in cinemas yesterday and I watched a trailer on the big screen and I went, this looks sick.
I've been watching.
yes,
I've been watching Reddit
looks
and all
awesome.
the costumes are going to be mad.
I mean,
I've been playing Monster Hunter since it was on the tiny little 3DS screen. So can you imagine what those monsters are going to look on a big one?
yeah. So if you want to enter to get one of these 5 double passes, please message in on 0420626733, or it's probably best that you message us on Facebook at ZEDGamesAU. Send us a message in there to get in and get your opportunity to win a double pass. We've got 5 of them. You'll go into a bit of a raffle and see how you go. You do have to be a current 4ZZZ subscriber though, so you have to send in your number, your subscriber number. Do that. Do that.
Do it.
Do
it. Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter!
Yeah. That's pretty exciting. It's time for us to say goodbye.
It is. I mean, it's been a long episode. I mean, in the sense that we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
It's been a bit hectic, but not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was your first time tonight in the hot seat?
Well, I have stopped. The hot seat isn't so hot anymore. Now it is just...
You're just used to the temperature
It's just
now.
comfortable. I've adapted. I've adapted to it. I'm now part of the seat.
Is there a puddle at your feet?
There's no puddle.
Of sweat. I didn't mean anything else.
Wow. That's, I don't know how
Okay,
how
all
to
right.
feel about that.
You know
And
what?
I'll leave once
All
again.
right.
Everyone.
If you'd like to join Zahra and Toby's clan for Destiny 2, since they're recruiting more members, please message us on the Z Games Facebook page at ZEDGamesAU.
This is a serious offer.
Seriously. No, in all honesty, go for gold.
Yeah, you wanna play some Destiny 2 with some of these Z Games co-hosts, and you already play, and you're looking for more people to play with and a clan to build. I mean, surely there's so many of you out there right now going, yes, me, and you're gonna be like having an army of people now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I got nothing else to do. Come on.
So yeah, you should do that. That's my advice to you.
And even if you haven't played Destiny and you're just interested in it and you just don't want to really play it by yourself,
Yep.
yeah,
Got no
we'll coach
problems.
you. It's all
Yeah.
good.
And I hope everyone's enjoying Cyberpunk 2077 as well. I know that I'm probably going to start playing it in maybe 6 months' time when a lot has been fixed, and I've upgraded my PC because I want to take my time with this one.
I'm having so much fun with that.
All right, whatevs.
Glitches and all.
happy.
All right.
Okay, we're good.
All right. From Z Games to you, you will take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Z Games. If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify or follow us on social media at ZEDGamesAU. See you next time.